And I think we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome to Movie Time Minute. This is the birthday stream celebration. I turned 34 years old today, and I want to do a live stream today and rank all of the 34 favorite movies that are on my list for all of you. I got to say, this list was not easy to come up with or to narrow down. I have a lot of favorite movies, quote unquote. This one. This one was really tough to make, especially narrowing it down to 34 and then placing them on a ranking, because I feel like this ranking would change day to day based on when I did it and how I felt at the moment. So take it with a grain of salt as far as that part goes. But these are my 34 favorite movies, and I'm excited to share them with you today. We've got some comments. We'll go ahead and start out reading those comments. We got Dart Movies in the chat. Dart, thank you for joining. Let's see if I can get this brought up. There we go. He says, happy birthday. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Dart Movies also says, sadly, I can't be here for the start. If you're reading this on stream, I'm at a cinema right now watching Norwegian horror comedy called There's Something in the Barn. Interesting. I've not heard of that. It says about a gnome that kills people on Christmas. Well, that's pretty cool. Like I said, I've not heard of this one, but definitely sounds interesting. 80s Kid from the 90s says, happy birthday. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you joining the stream. Thanks for being here. And 80s Kid from the 90s says, I still have to make my 27 favorite movies sometime this month. Yeah, you turned 27 this month. Happy belated birthday to you. I know you had a lot of really cool unboxing stuff for what you got for your birthday. In case you wonder what I got for my birthday, part of it's sitting on my desk. I finally got the Scott Lang Look Out for the Little Guy book, so I'm excited about that. Hopefully I'll get to read it here soon. Also got a brand new soundboard from my wife. So I'm excited to mess with it a little bit more. I've not really got to play with it a whole lot. I know it's supposed to have buttons that do things, but while I hear it here, I don't think you can hear it there right now. So I got to figure out how to make all that work. I had it going on Ken's stream last night, but for some reason I don't have it going for me today. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. You know me, all the technical difficulties I can have, I definitely have. So, all right. I think that's all the comments we've got so far. Seems like there's something else I wanted to bring up before I started this list. Yeah, I don't know, but how are you guys doing today? Are everybody having a good weekend? I don't expect there'll be a whole lot of people jump on the stream just because it's the middle of the day Saturday, but I know I've got probably too much going in the evenings to do any streams in the evenings. For those that don't know, if you're here or if you're watching replay, if you're wondering where my live stream Sunday night was, this is my live stream for the weekend. I won't be around Sunday night. We are going to watch Beetlejuice live at the Orpheum in Memphis. Sunday night, so I won't be available, won't be able to jump on and do any streams on Sunday, but I'm doing this stream now in place of that. So no news stream this week, nothing like that. I will say the following Sunday night during Movie News Minute, myself, Jason Entertainment, I think Kenny Sparks, and who knows who else might show up, but right here on this channel, we're going to be doing the Marvels open spoiler discussion. So if you want to come in and talk about the Marvels after watching it next weekend and have a place to open up and all things spoilery related, this is the channel you can come to next Sunday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to talk about the Marvels. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. Jonathan Smith's in the chat. Says, I'm here. I guess you didn't make it to that birthday party today. I know there was another birthday party today in the family, so I was curious who all wound up making it to that. But obviously, I'm not there because I'm here right now. So, but I've had a couple things I've had to do today, and this is being one of them. So this is where I'm at. All right. Well, with that being said, let me check on something real quick before we jump into my list. Let's see. Sorry if the typing is loud. But okay. We may have a guest come on here in a little bit and run through this with us. So we got another comment here from Never Hold Back Reviews. Says happy birthday. Well, appreciate that. Thanks for joining the stream. I'm glad to have you here. All right. So as I said, today I'm going to be ranking all 34 of my favorite movies. One for each year, but they're not from each year. It's just my 34 favorite movies. Again, I had this thing. I picked out and narrowed it down to like 50 something movies. And then I had to like narrow that again to like 40 movies, and then getting it down to 34 was a nightmare. So because of that, I have a pretty lengthy list of honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut, but they were in my top movie list. And I want to go ahead and just read off those. I don't want to spend a lot of time on those movies, but just to let you know some of the movies that didn't quite make the cut. And when I say favorite movies, best movies, I'm talking about movies that I like the most, not necessarily that these are the greatest movies in the world, because some of these movies on the list, you're going to say, that's not a great movie, and that's okay that you feel that way. These are just movies that I really enjoy and have a lot of fun with. And honestly, I'm thinking of a couple other ones right now that I just really enjoy that are not necessarily great movies also that I didn't include on this list and didn't even put it in my overall bigger list, and stuff like Con Air that I could watch over and over again, or Air Force One, a couple of those awesome action movies from like the 80s, 90s era. Some of those got left off of this list, but that's another thing altogether. So my honorable mentions, here's a list of them. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original, not the awful Johnny Depp remake, the original one with Gene Wilder. That's the good one, the Willy Wonka movie. And that one just holds a special place in my heart. I have a lot of feelings with that movie. It's a special movie. It's a creative movie. And I really think that this new Wonka movie that's going to be coming out later this year with Timothée Chalamet is got that same essence. And I'm really looking forward to that, because anything's better than that Johnny Depp version we got. Another movie on this list here that I've got is Coach Carter. This is one of my favorite sports movies, if not my favorite sports movie that's been made. This is Samuel L. Jackson taking a underprivileged school and rising them to fame and that kind of thing. Basketball movie, a lot of fun. Really great character arcs in that movie. Really enjoyed that. Another movie on this list, 3:10 to Yuma. This is probably my favorite Western, and this is the remake version of 3:10 to Yuma, the one with Christian Bale, Russell Crowe. Really like this movie. Fantastic direction for one, and like those guys played off each other great. It was fantastic. I'm not usually a big Western guy, but that was one of my favorites. Another one on this list I've got is August Rush. If you know that movie, little kid plays a guitar. Such a heartwarming movie. Robin Williams is actually kind of a bad guy in that movie, so that was kind of cool to see him play kind of a different role. Anytime Robin Williams was in anything, I was watching. So August Rush, a lot of fun. Another one on this list was Spirited Away, one of my favorite animated movies of all time. I don't have to say a whole lot with that. If you like those type of movies, this was one of his best as far as the ones that he's made with these. So Spirited Away, of course, The Boy and the Heron coming out later this year, kind of in the same vein. So excited to see that. The Jungle Book, and I'm talking about the original animated Jungle Book from, was it the 60s? Yeah, that was, I had to include this on this list, even though it's not in my top 34, because this is the movie that I probably wore out the most VHS-wise, along with my Barney VHSs. And as a kid, this was like my Disney go-to as a small child. I love The Jungle Book, watched this 1,000 times, and I still enjoy The Jungle Book today, still like to sing the songs, a lot of fun. Next on here is Curse of the Black Pearl, the first of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. We got our introduction to Captain Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp in that movie. Really love Curse of the Black Pearl. I just couldn't quite get it onto the 34. Real Steel is probably my favorite boxing movie ever made. Yes, better than Rocky. I love Real Steel. Same director that's fixing to do this Deadpool 3 movie too, so I'm really excited for that. And he did The Adam Project. Great director. This one stars Hugh Jackman, Evangeline Lilly. Fantastic movie. Fighting robots, Rock'em Sock'em in big screen, which I think we're actually getting a Rock'em Sock'em movie later, so that'll be interesting too. But Real Steel was another great movie. And then Spider-Man 2. Up until this year, this was my favorite Spider-Man movie ever made. I love the dynamic between Peter Parker and Doc Ock in that movie. The storytelling in it was bar none the best live action to me that we've had in Spider-Man. I know a lot of you No Way Home fans, that story does not compare to Spider-Man 2. So Spider-Man 2 is on that list of honorable mentions. All right, before I start my top 34, we'll go ahead and read just a couple comments you guys are leaving in here. Very curious what you guys are saying. Deadline Movies. Can't hang out today, but at least wanted to pop in, wish you happy birthday. Enjoy it. Have a great stream. Hey, I appreciate that, and I completely understand. Like I said, I'm middle of the day Saturday, so not being able to stick around is perfectly understandable. But I appreciate you coming by just to leave that comment and wish me happy birthday. I really appreciate it. It's been a good one so far. I've mostly been alone all day, but I did a little thing with Zach Milne earlier and got to hang out with my son this morning before he left with his grandmother. So and my wife's at work, but she's going to come back and we're going to go out to eat. We're going to have a good night. So, and I'm hoping, and I think we're going to put up our Christmas tree tonight. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. It's like one of my favorite things to do around my birthday time is getting to put up a Christmas tree. I love Christmas, and you'll find that out as we get into these into these movies here in a second. Kenny Sparks, hey, what's going on, man? Seems like I just saw you recently, and maybe we'll see you again soon. Happy birthday. Yeah, thank you for that, sir. I appreciate it. I'm officially for at least a few months older than you right now. Let's see. And Kenny also says, I'll be there in a bit, still trying to make it out of Wendy's. I understand. That's all good, man. Yeah, I had an oatmeal cream pie and I'm still drinking on my coffee because I didn't sleep much last night. So that is my lunch and breakfast because I hadn't eaten nothing else today, but I'm saving my stomach for dinner tonight. So anytime a buffet is involved, this fat guy's gotta make room and be prepared. So that's what I'll be doing. All right. So he's going to be a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and start this list. I wasn't sure if he'd make it back before I finished the honorable mentions or not, but the news is out. You guys know Ken's going to join the stream hopefully here in a little bit if he gets back from Wendy's. Wendy's sounds pretty good, actually. I'm not going to lie. That sounds pretty good. All right. So let's get into starting off with my number 34 favorite movie all time. This is a movie that came out in 1987, starred Mel Gibson, Danny Glover. You know where I'm going with this. Lethal Weapon. I love Lethal Weapon. I love the franchise as a whole, but especially that first movie. There was just something that grips you in that first movie with Riggs and Murtaugh and their dynamic back and forth, the buddy cop thing. I really hope that they can latch on to some of that with whatever DC's doing with the Green Lantern thing they're talking about. Like I want to get some of that back and forth dynamic like what Riggs and Murtaugh had in Lethal Weapon, because that's my favorite of the buddy cop type movies, and I think they were great together. I think the story was pretty good, but it was your basic action movie. But just watching Riggs deal with the suicidal thoughts and the things like that, and knowing what he went through with the loss of his wife, and like this movie, yes, it was an action movie first and foremost, but this movie had some depth too, and you don't get that with a lot of these type of movies. So I really enjoyed Lethal Weapon. If you've not watched it in a while, I recommend going back and checking that out because it's a lot of fun. All right. Oh, got another comment in here. See what that is before I get to the next one. Oh, it's just Ken. It's just Ken. Lethal Weapon, great movie. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. That's my number 34. All right, you guys are going to laugh at this one? Oh, why did that get switched around? Okay. That's up there. That's there. Number 33. This is a movie that came out in 1998. I was a kid when this came out, and I was extremely excited for this. My parents let me go to the theaters to watch this one, and I was so happy. You got a card when you watch this movie, and I'll just go ahead and put it up on the screen. Pokemon, the first movie, 1998. I love Pokemon. I still have gone back and watched this movie recently a couple times. They even did like a kind of a remake of this one on Netflix with kind of updated animation, and it was essentially the same movie, just more computer animated, and that was fine. But overall, I still prefer that original cartoon of this. It gave us our first introduction to some of the new generation Pokemon that were fixing to come aboard in that point in time. And as a big Pokemon fanatic myself, I got my Dragonite right here. Favorite Pokemon right there. Big Pokemon fanatic myself. I absolutely love this movie, and this will always hold a special place in my heart. And it'll always be in a top list for me because it's, even though it's not the greatest movie of all time, it was probably the first movie I ever shed a tear in. Because that scene when all the Pokemon are crying over Ash when he gets turned to stone, man, that was gut wrenching for an 8-year-old kid. Oh boy. Ken says, my brother, tell me what we're fighting for. Yes, there we go. I cried hard when Pikachu was crying to revive Ash. Absolutely. I'm right there with you. Mike Witt. Hey man, thanks for joining the stream. Happy birthday, old man. Yeah, I might get a few different comments than what I normally get on my streams today, just because I'm also putting this one on my Facebook channel as well today on my personal account, just because it's my birthday. I don't normally stream it to there, so normally it's exclusive to YouTube, but today it's to both. So thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate you being here. And number 32. All right, now we're kind of switching gears. We've had an action movie, we've had a kids movie, cartoon. Now we keeps moving on me. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, number 32, 2008's Mamma Mia. This is the musical movie. I love movie musicals. I don't know if you know that about me, but I do. This is one of my favorites. This one's Meryl Streep. This is Pierce Brosnan. A stellar cast. Amanda Seyfried. It goes on and on. This is one of my favorite musicals and one of my favorite movies. And the soundtrack for this is one of my favorites. Of course, they use songs from ABBA, and it's fantastic. I love this movie. It's one of the reasons 2008 is one of my favorite years in movies, because this movie is a part of it. Press Review says, happy birthday. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Appreciate you being in the stream. Ken says, DJ loves musicals. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It is my favorite genre. Like I could watch musicals constant. Oh man, I know a lot of people like talking about recent musicals. Musicals do something to me emotionally that a lot of movies just don't do, and I don't know why it is that music comes to me in that way and makes me feel things in that way, but it does. And one of them recently that really did that was the Dear Evan Hansen movie. I know a lot of people down that movie because it wasn't as good as the play version, whatever. And Ben Platt looked extremely old as a kid. But that movie, man, that's a movie that I loved as a musical, but I can't include it on a list like this because I will never watch it again. Like that movie had me so tore up all the way through it. I couldn't do that one again. Ken says, hoping to see Sweeney Todd on the list. It is not on the list. That is another one that was in my group of movies that didn't quite make the cut when it came to the end of it. But I do really love Sweeney Todd. It's got a lot of great moments in it. There was a couple twists toward the end. One of them in particular I didn't even see coming, but I really enjoyed. But yeah, that didn't quite make it, but it is a great movie. All right, so we got Mamma Mia. Let's get to number 31. We seem to be going through this pretty fast, so maybe we'll start getting some comments here in a minute, and it'll slow things down a little bit. But if not, hey, we'll get through it, and it'll be cool. Maybe Ken will pop in by the final 10 or something. We'll see what happens. X2, 2003. This is the only X-Men movie on this list. Logan is not on this list, even though he was one of my considered. But X2 is my favorite X-Men movie. And I was saying this to somebody a night or two ago. I think it might have been on Ken or Jason's stream. I don't remember which stream it was, but I think it was Ken's stream last night. So the opening scene for this movie is probably my favorite intro to any superhero movie opening that I've seen up to now. And that was the Nightcrawler in the White House scene. They did such a good job in 2003 with special effects, and then the practical on Nightcrawler himself, and then the special effects for his teleportation and some of the things that were happening in that. It was so good. And the way they shot that whole scene, like even if you took out the rest of the movie, which I did enjoy the rest of the movie, that scene alone made this movie one of the top superhero movies for me, just because they did such a good job of that. So X2 is my number 31. Uh, he said, "Drat." Preston review. No offense, but musical is my least favorite genre. That's fair. It doesn't affect everyone the same way. I have no problem with that, but I do love musicals myself. Musicals and then like animation, like those are like my top two. Uh, I love kids movies. Kenny Sparks. Almost done recovering from the ghost pepper burger. I don't like spicy food, so I'm not sure why I did that to myself, man. And ghost pepper is one of the hotter ones too. That's crazy, man. Uh, I hope you even have a voice after that. Preston says X2 is my fifth favorite X-Men movie. Wow, that's fair though. Not everything's going to hit everybody the same way. Ken says X2 is fantastic. And Preston follows up and says, "Wait, I meant third favorite." Okay, well that's fair too. I will say like it's tough me saying that it's my favorite because there's a couple of them I do actually really like, and I don't know whether you can count Logan as an X-Men movie just because he's a Wolverine spinoff thing. I don't know, but if you take that one out of the equation, like Days of Future Past is right there. First Class is right there, pretty good too. So like I like all of those as well. But to me, X2 just did the most for me. The only thing I don't like with X2, and really all the original of that early 2000s X-Men trilogy, is the way they did my man Cyclops, because they casted him perfect. James Marsden is phenomenal, and he could have done a lot with that character if it had been written for him. So that's the one knock I'll say on X-Men is how they handled Cyclops in those movies. Really, how they handled Cyclops in the other movies too is tough. First is Logan, second is First Class. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. My only issue with X2 is Cyclops being sidelined. Hey, yeah, we're pretty well agreeing on that based on what I just said too. So that's cool. That's cool. All right, let's get on to number 30. All right, here's another one you guys are gonna be like, really? You put this on your list? But hey, these are movies that affected me certain ways, and these are movies that still are relevant to me today, and movies I'll go back and watch no matter how bad the movie is itself. It still is special to me. And this one was 1995. As a kid, I couldn't get enough of Power Rangers. Power Rangers, the movie, 1995, is my number 30 favorite movie of all time. No, it doesn't hold up real well when you go back and watch it now. The whole ooze thing with the purple ooze stuff was kind of goofy. The ninja stuff was okay, I guess, when they were traveling to get their new powers and all that. But this is made for kids, and it's a kids movie. And I was 5 years old when this came out, and I was huge into Power Rangers. I can remember watching this over and over again. I've gone back and watched it now, even as much as it don't hold up, and I still have fun with this just because of what it is. I mean, I've got a whole section here dedicated to Tommy Oliver, or Jason David Frank's character of Tommy. In fact, when I first got all these things and had this shelf for that, it was before he passed away. So now it means even more that he has, but this wasn't intended to be a shrine. It's just kind of the way it looks now. But this entire shelf is all Tommy Oliver, all Power Rangers. And I love it. I love the Power Rangers. I love collecting the memorabilia for it, and it's just a franchise that will always hold a special place in my heart. And that movie was a lot of fun for me. All right, let's see what you guys are saying over here. Ken says my favorite is Days of Future Past. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one too. Oh, okay. So Krista says no, not First Class, the first X Men. So you like the first X Men with Toad. Yeah, honestly, that first X Men had some really great storylines. I really liked the whole the whole Statue of Liberty scene. Like that was really fun to me. I like that, and the fight with Wolverine and Sabretooth, and yeah, that was pretty cool. Preston review says, "Man, yeah, I got what you meant, X Ken." I don't think I read it like that. Kenny Sparks says, "Action boy now, action girl now." Ken says, "Power Rangers the movie is awesome." Preston, I didn't really get into Power Rangers. That's fair. Kenny Sparks, Ivan Ooze is an underrated villain. Hey, he was a cool villain. I mean, it's goofy, but it was still a lot of fun. Preston says, I'm betting Harry Potter will be on this list, at least one of them. You think so? Yeah, there might be at least one Harry Potter movie on this list. Some of these I would like to have added more movies from different franchises than what I did, but I wanted to kind of spread this out a little more. So some of the times, like I probably would have included 2 from Star Wars. You'll see a Star Wars one on here after a while, but I did want to give some love to some other movies. So I kind of just kind of branched that in with it, and I got a Star Wars on here. So, and I'm going to say that Harry Potter, you might see a similar thing going on with that whenever I get to that. All right. Number 29. So I told you guys I liked kid movies. I like animated movies. There are going to be a few of those on here, but the whole list ain't that. So don't worry about that. But number 29 was one that came out in 1997. This was probably, it's definitely one of, if not my favorite animated film from that decade. I'm sorry, Ken. At least animated Disney movie from that decade. And that was Hercules. I love the animated Hercules film. I think this one is fantastic. I have a lot of fun with this. Even now, I feel like this is one of them that definitely holds up to now because it's still fun going back and watch it. They voice casted Hades perfectly. The songs in this movie were really good. Danny DeVito as Phil, like there's no. I know they're working on a live action for this right now. I really hope they grab back Danny DeVito. I know they don't usually grab the same actors again, but you guys did it with James Earl Jones for Mufasa. Let's get back Danny DeVito for Phil. I really want to see that because that's like perfect casting, live and animated. So, really like the Hercules movie. Great coming of age story. A great finding yourself story, and for a kid growing up and trying to figure out who it is they are. This is a good story for them to watch. So really enjoy the Hercules from 97. Ken says driving back now. All right. Press and review. Hot take, my favorite Star Wars episode 3. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. It's not my favorite, but I actually do like episode 3. I like the prequels a lot more than a lot of people give credit to. So episode 3 is pretty good. John Smith says Prisoner of Azkaban or Order of the Phoenix. Well, I'll tell you, it's the same movie that is my favorite book. So if you know that, then you know which one it's going to be. But I'll wait to share it fully until we get to that point. Ken says Hercules is super fun. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm a 33-year-old man, and I still like watching that animated Hercules movie. So that's why it's on my list. Lance Jackson, the movie fan, happy birthday. Hey, thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate you being here. Really, really cool for you to stop by. All right, let's get on to the next one. It'll load. There we go. All right, now we're going to have a little bit of change of pace here. This one is a 1985 film, and it's one of the reasons I'm excited for a film that's coming later this year, because this is a story that makes you really think hard about the past, how things were for people, what people had to go through, especially for someone who, I mean, be honest, I grew up in privilege. Like I'm different than a lot of these people I watch on screen and what they experience and go through in life. And this movie really showed me that as a young person, and made me think about when I'm reading my history books exactly what some people had to go through that I never had to endure. So 1985, The Color Purple. This was a movie directed by Steven Spielberg. To me, one of his best directed movies. And Whoopi Goldberg was in this movie. Oprah Winfrey was in this movie. The cast for this, Danny Glover, cast for this was fantastic. And it deserved all the accolades and all the awards that this movie won, and all the nominations, because it really was that good of a movie. Again, this is one of Spielberg's best. It's phenomenal storytelling. They went on and did Broadway plays with this, and of course, later this year we're getting a musical version with Fantasia and with Halle Bailey and Coleman Domingo. Like this is why this is one of the most anticipated movies I have for this year, and it's been that way since toward the beginning of the year, because I love the original Color Purple, and I just know that they're going to do a phenomenal job with this one. I know Spielberg and Oprah are coming back as producers for this, and I'm really excited for the new one. So the original Color Purple is my number 28 favorite movie. All right, and then on number 27, we're fixing to get into the first Christmas movie on the list, and this one was from 1988. It starred Bruce Willis. You know where I'm going here. Die Hard. Don't try to tell me this isn't a Christmas movie, because it is absolutely a Christmas movie. This movie doesn't take place unless it's Christmas time. He's not visiting his family for Christmas if it's not Christmas time. He's not at this office party trying to meet up with his wife. She's not still at the office at this time of night if it's not for the Christmas party. He kills somebody and puts ho, ho, ho on their chest. Everything about this movie is Christmas. It's just an action movie that takes place during that time. But this Christmas plot is essential to the story. So I'm going to stand by those words that this is a Christmas movie. Nobody's asking me right now whether it is or not, but I'm telling you now, in case there's any arguments in the chat, that's where I stand on it, and I'll die on that hill. So, but no, Die Hard itself is a great action film. It's a lot of fun. I can go back and rewatch this over and over again every single year, and the reason I can do that is because it was told in such a great way. Down to the little details of him running around barefoot and having to step on glass and dealing with that, like it's the details in a story like that and the side things that you're not really thinking about that make a movie great sometimes. And this movie had plenty of those moments to do that. Watching Hans Gruber or the late great, we just talked about, he was in Sweeney Todd, he's in Harry Potter. Why is my mind blank? Somebody will tell me in the chat his name. Watching him perform this villain role in this way, how he comes out and talks to Bruce Willis at one point in this movie, and Bruce doesn't realize he's the one that's the villain. It really works with what they did for this. And there's been 1,000 movies since that time that have tried to copy the plot and storyline and the details of Die Hard. So it is, to me, a classic action and one of my favorite Christmas movies. All right, chat's blowing up. Let's see what you guys are saying. Ken says, all-star cast, excellent movie. Are we talking? Oh, yeah, The Color Purple, I assume, from that one. Preston says Die Hard was okay. Kenny says, yes. Ken says, one of the greatest action movies of all time. I agree. Press Reviews, it's a great Christmas movie you can watch anytime. Yeah, I agree with that, too. Ken says, one of the greatest Christmas movies of all time. All right. It won't be the last Christmas movie on this list either. And, man, I wanted to fit Spirited on here. I really liked that one last year. But it's kind of too new, really, for me to put it on my all-time favorite list, I feel like. I say that, and I have 2 movies from the last 2 years that are on my list. But for that one being a Christmas and a Christmas musical and stuff, I had to wait out on Spirited. But, yeah, there's some fantastic Christmas movies out there. And Die Hard is definitely one of those greats. And speaking of musicals, I have my next musical on this list, and this one's from 2005. This is another one that I listen to the soundtrack a lot, and my wife gets tired of it, I'm sure. And this one was the Mel Brooks, The Producers. Matthew Broderick, Nathan Lane teaming up for the first time since they were in Lion King together. To my knowledge, anyway, I think it was the first time they teamed up since then to do The Producers. This movie is a comedy musical, and it fits both of those descriptions to a T. One of the funniest movies I think I've seen. Uma Thurman coming in and as the secretary girl and like Ula dance, like so good. I loved Uma Thurman and The Producers, and I loved Matthew Broderick with his blanket. Like, if you've not seen this movie, he's got this bit with his blanket where he can't let go of his blue blankie, like he's Linus from Snoopy or something. And it's just hilarious. It's like a nervous tick, and it's fantastic. There's a couple scenes with Will Ferrell in this movie as well. Really, really love The Producers, and that's why it made my list here. One of the musicals I've rewatched the most times. One of those few that really hit that. Ken says Alan Rickman. Yes, that's who I was trying to think of the name of. Like any other time, I would have known it until I had to say it, and then I couldn't think of him. Ken says walking in the house. All right, all good. Looks like he's going to get here around the time for the top 25. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 25. And this is another animated film. This one's from 2010. And this one was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So I feel justified with having this on my list. Number 25 is Toy Story 3. This is my favorite of the Toy Story franchise. This one to me had the most heart, had the most emotion, and overall it was just a wild adventure that I'm able to get lost in every time I watch it. I was really glad that my son, my 2-year-old, enjoyed this when I put it on for him here a while back, because if he hadn't liked this Toy Story 3 movie, I probably would have had to trade him in. No, just kidding. But it is a great animated feature, not just for kids, but for adults too. Has some great themes in it. And when I know Ken talks about there's not a lot of great animated trilogies, well, the Toy Story 1 through 3 trilogy, I think definitely fits as a great animated trilogy, because all 3 of those movies are phenomenal. And Toy Story 3 might just be the best of all 3 of them. Preston says Toy Story 3 is my favorite animated movie and my 13th of all time. All right, well there we go. I'm not too far off having it in my top 25 then, right? Pretty cool. All right, the next one is a more new movie, and this is from 2021, and it. When I was going through this list, for some reason, like I switched this back and forth with another movie as my favorite. I'll go ahead and say DCEU movies of all time. For some reason, when I'm making this list today, this one topped this time, and that is 2021's The Suicide Squad by James Gunn. This is right now my favorite DCEU film. I go back and forth with this and Man of Steel. Like last week, I was saying Man of Steel. Today, I'm saying this one. So this one could have been either of those slots, because both of them would have fit in right here just fine. I could have probably had both of them on this list, but this is the one that's on there today, probably because I'm more excited for this one right now, knowing I'm getting one of the characters back out of this with Peacemaker going forward. So this movie was way better than it had any right to be based on the characters that were in it. They made me feel things for Polka Dot Man. I mean, that's all I got to say about this movie. They made me feel for Polka Dot Man, and care about that character. They made me care about Ratcatcher. They made me care about like King Shark. Like I got him right here. This movie, I thought the entire movie was better than it should have been based on what they were doing. They were fighting a giant star alien. Like it's goofy. It's extremely goofy. But James Gunn wrote this movie and did it in a way that the character development was there. You're introducing tons and tons of characters and somehow making it work in a single film while they're being introduced, which is a thing that a lot of people say can't be done, and they need to spread out characters and that kind of thing. Well, Gunn's did it now with Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad, introducing new characters. Now, this one did have a couple characters we recognized and knew already, but there was a lot of new characters in this, and he pulled it off. So for that reason, I've got that on this top list, my favorite movies, because I think it really worked. Look at the comments here, see what we got going on. Preston was the next one on here. DJ would be like, oh, you don't like Toy Story 3? I think your new family would love you, not me, Toy Story 3 fan. Yeah, I might have done that. No, I love my son. I wouldn't have done that. The Suicide Squad is one of my least favorite movies of all time. I will be taking no questions. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I think it's a fantastic movie. We got some company. Are you ready, buddy? All right, I'm gonna bring on everybody. Welcome Ken to the stage. Yeah, what do you have? What do you have to say about Preston here? It's dogging Suicide Squad.
Which one? The Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad?
The Suicide Squad, 2021.
Oh, I love the Suicide Squad. I think it's fantastic. Oh, I'm frozen. Okay. I'm on back to Jesus. Sorry. Trying to sing my computer back into existence. Hold on.
I got you. I got you.
All right, here we go. Acting like a human. No, yeah, the Suicide Squad is great. Thoroughly enjoyed that film.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad is a different story.
I feel you. Yeah, I was just saying, like I've got this one on the list, and it was almost Man of Steel, and for some reason, last minute I switched it out, and it became Suicide Squad on this list today. So
I'm a big
that's
Man
one
of
of those
Steel fan
things.
as well.
Those two movies, I just keep swapping back and forth on which one I like better in the DCEU. So
they're both really good. I'll tell you that.
I think I just went with this one because I know we're getting Peacemaker again, so I'm like more hyped for that, and it keeps me maybe with this. I don't know why I did it the way I did it, but I did.
No, Peacemaker is a surprisingly good show. So yeah.
Ken, how are you doing today?
I am tired. I just got done driving illegally. Yeah, I still haven't found my wallet, so that tells you everything you need.
Okay.
So yeah, I just I'm back. I'm good. I'm in a good mood. I'm excited for your birthday, man. Happy birthday again. You're doing great. I think did I miss a few? Because I think the last one I saw was it wasn't Die Hard, was it? That wasn't the last one I saw.
I went Die Hard, and then The Producers, and then Toy Story 3, and then Suicide Squad.
Okay, yeah. So the only one I missed was Toy Story 3, which is a fantastic film.
That was my number 25.
Toy Story 3 was one of those I was not expecting to be as good as it was. But yeah, I cried quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I said during that, I said, if my son, I watched it with my son, and I was like, all right, here we go. You're 2 years old. You're old enough to watch this movie. If you don't like this, I'm trading you in. And luckily he liked it. But no.
How was he during the furnace scene?
Well, he's too young to realize what was happening there.
Oh, that's good.
He just likes, right now he's at that age, he just likes bright colors, so.
That's good. Yeah.
If a movie's got bright colors or music, then he'll watch it with me. And even then, most of the time he's distracted for half of it. But him watching it, quote unquote,
Gotcha.
But that's good. Preston, that's perfectly fine. You don't like the Suicide Squad. Everybody has their own taste, and that's great. I'm glad that you didn't like it as much as I liked it, because it gives more love for me to give to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mama Minutes come in. Hey, what's going on, Mama Minutes?
Hey, Mama Minutes.
If I can get it to load up. Okay. It's doing that slow thing for me today where it's not showing up on my screen fast enough. Just got signal. Happy birthday. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Press reviews and Suicide Squad 2016 is in my top 200.
Wow. Well, for one, having a top 200 is pretty impressive. I don't know if I could rack my brain to think at one time of 200 movies that I've seen. I know I've seen probably well over 200 movies, but listing them would be difficult, especially if you're doing it in a ranking fashion. That's hard.
Well, it's like sitting here right now. Like, I keep thinking of other movies I really love that I wish I'd included here. But then I'm like, where would I have put them?
Yeah,
it's so hard.
Pardon Prince here. She is just trying to invade the situation.
Preston says, I love the Peacemaker show. Okay, so you didn't like the Suicide Squad, but you do love Peacemaker. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Peacemaker's great. I enjoy Peacemaker a lot. One of the best openings to a show.
That intro. Yeah, fantastic. I don't know if anybody saw. I don't know how many people watched John Campea, but when he dressed up as Peacemaker last week, Halloween week, he did a little bit of the dance when he started the show that day. It was pretty funny.
That dance is amazing.
It's a great intro. Right now, Peacemaker is my favorite DC television show that's ever been made, and it's only had one season. Like, I love that show, and I'm a huge Smallville fan. I'm just. It passed it to me. Like, I love that Peacemaker show. So
I would say that it's probably, because it's only one season. I'm going to go season by season. I'll say Arrow season 2 is my favorite season of DC television. The whole thing with Slade was just great.
It was fantastic. I loved Arrow season 2. I loved Arrow season 1 as well. But
same.
I I don't know. I'm trying to. I guess I was trying to judge it on just as a show, and so far Peacemaker hasn't given me the bad season yet, and Arrow gave me a couple of them, so I'm just like, I don't know. It's tough. And it's Ken. But you know what? She probably heard that you were on your way. That's why she got on the stream. That's what was happening there. Yeah, she's like, Ken's coming. Yeah, I'll jump on. Preston Kenny became a criminal.
Sometimes.
There's the Ken. In my minutes, I gotta finish Grimm. Come on, load up. Because I need to start watching Christmas movies. What's a new one to start with? Christmas movie? Well, there's one that don't look good to me coming out with Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, that does not look.
I don't think it looks good at all. But
it does not look appealing. There was one that just came out last year. I think it was either last year or the year before last year. With it was Forrest Whitaker. It was a Netflix one.
Jingle Jangle.
That was great. I loved Jingle Jangle.
Loved it. Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, and it had some music in it.
I was hoping it would become like a classic for people, but I don't hear people talking.
I didn't hear a lot of people talk about that one. Yeah,
it's got all the makings of one of the old classics.
Yeah, like I hope Violent Night becomes a classic.
Violent Night was really good. I really enjoyed.
I even liked the year before Fat Man with Mel Gibson. I liked that one pretty good too.
I don't remember that one.
You didn't watch Fat Man?
No, I'll have to Google
you had a kid that wanted to get revenge on Santa because he didn't get a gift because he was a bad kid, and he decides to hire an assassin to go kill Santa at the North Pole. And it's Mel Gibson as Santa. Yeah,
it's an extreme response.
It was wild. I had a lot of fun with that one though.
That is a very extreme response, kid. You think you're getting anything after that?
All right. View of the Drew in the chat.
Hey, what's up,
thanks
Drew?
For joining, Drew. I appreciate you being here. Man, there's been a lot of folks come into the stream today.
Yep, I mean, people love you, dude.
Well, I don't know. I think they just heard you was coming.
No.
Yeah, DJ. That's it. See, there we go.
Oh, minutes. Don't help this man.
The view of the Drew says happy birthday. Thanks, Drew. I appreciate that. Another year older.
My camera's doing weird things. Hold on.
Press review. Suicide Squad 2016. Is the story bad? Yes. Is the villain bad? Heck yeah. Is the cast and characters great? Kinda. Is it a guilty pleasure? Yeah. Okay.
Is that the belly dancing villain?
Yeah.
What was going on?
Will Smith and Margot Robbie were both good in that movie.
Yes, they were. I would totally agree with that. So was Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah.
Kinnaman?
Yeah, that's true. Kinnaman. Mama Minutes, I swear. I've never heard of Jingle Jangle. We'll have to check that out. You know how many times there are movies that I know I've told her about or that I watch. I'm like, hey, check this out in our little family messenger group. And then a month later, she's like, hey, did you hear of this movie? I'm like, I told you about that movie.
No, yeah, Jingle Jangle.
There's no way I made it through Jingle Jangle without having mentioned that, hey, you guys should check this out to the family. Like,
Jingle Jangle is fantastic.
All right.
Put it on my Netflix list right now, actually.
I think I am down to number 23. Speaking of Christmas movies, my number 23 is from 1996, and I have a figure to go with this one.
96 is a good year.
Well, I dropped part of it. It's a little hand blaster. But I have Turbo Man here because my number 23 movie all time is Jingle All the Way.
An underrated movie.
This is I've always thought of this as kind of my guilty pleasure movie. Oh yeah.
Jingle All the Way is fantastic. I'm dead serious. It's a really good movie.
I love it. And for years, I wanted a Turbo Man and never could find one. I have one now. Thank you, Funko, for making these figures a couple years ago and releasing them.
Nice.
Yeah. So Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think this might be the only Arnold movie I actually have on the list, but which is wild to me because I love Arnold.
Yeah.
But Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad. Sinbad was fantastic as the mailman in this movie.
Sinbad was great.
But overall, just the entire, like, this is one of those movies that gets me in the Christmas spirit. I don't know why, but it does. Like the whole Christmas parade thing, the reindeer pet next door. You know, there's just so much of this movie that just makes me smile. So
the jetpack that actually worked, like when they actually put the suits on, it's just great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, not the greatest movie of all time, but one of my favorite movies because this is one I make sure I watch every year at Christmas.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Number 22. Before I go back to comments again, I'm gonna go ahead and go to number 22. This is one from 2005, and it's one that is another musical, and it's another one that gives me the feels when I watch it. And the music in it is some of the best music in any musical ever, and that is Rent.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen Rent?
I've never seen Rent.
Never watched Rent.
No.
I love Rent. These are some of the most quotable songs, if that's a thing. If you can quote songs, like this is one of them that has it, because it's just so good. I had some of the music from this in my wedding in the background. We were dancing and stuff, and like this is just the "I'll Cover You" song is just it's great. I don't know what else to say on that.
Yeah,
it's just a fantastic movie. They actually brought most of the cast from the Broadway to make this movie as the cast for the movie.
Oh, great.
Including, what's his name? The guy that plays Joe West in Flash. Dude has a voice now.
Oh, I know exactly. He's got a new show now, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He does.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude sang his heart out in this movie. And
he had a couple episodes in the Flash where they let him sing.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that musical episode they did too. He had a couple of good songs in that. So, yeah, this one was great. Frozen Girl, Idina Menzel, she was fantastic in this movie. Just and Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson. This is the first time I found out she could sing. Like, she was great in this as well. So
I had no idea.
This entire movie was filled with a great cast. It was filled with great music, and it was a super interesting story and a light shiner on AIDS and things like that, that nature as well in this movie. So just I highly recommend, if you're into musicals at all, to check this one out if you never have.
Yeah.
Let's see these last couple comments we got here. View of the Drew says, what Marvel villain do you really think needs a great movie representation? I think Dr. Doom. Doom would be cool.
Doom would be cool.
Movie representation. Are you talking like their own movie, or are you just talking about in a superhero movie them have a big presence?
I think he's talking about like just in a superhero movie.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Because we've gotten, it feels like most of them. I guess the Marvel villain.
I'd like to see a redo with Apocalypse.
I would too, for sure. I was thinking redos as well. I'd like to see. I like you said, Dr. Doom is one of them. I just thought of one, and then I'd like to see Gore the God Butcher actually done well.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're not going to revisit that again for a while.
Oh, I gotta go. My friend got in a car accident apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will be back. All right, I'll see you soon.
Okay, yeah, no problem.